Germany is again having to deal with revelations that the US has been spying on it. A German intelligence agent was allegedly sending hundreds of top secret documents straight to Washington. RT's Peter Oliver takes up the story.
Well, it was all smiles and handshakes at the G7 last month, but flash forward to today, and, well, there's another spying scandal involving the US operations here in Germany. This time, well, it involves a German security service employee who's been arrested and is accused of being a double agent and being supplying documents to the United States. Now, the reaction that we've seen from the German side has been, well, they've said they're furious. We've heard from Angela Merkel saying that she's surprised and stunned by the claims and the arrest of this security service employee. The president of Germany, Mr. Gauck, has said that enough is enough, that if this turns out to be true, well, it has to be the end. But we've seen this before. We've heard these type of words before, and we haven't seen anything really done about it. All of what's come out following Edward Snowden's revelations has shown that not only is Germany one of the most spied on nations by the NSA, also that Chancellor Angela Merkel's private cell phone had been hacked by US security services, and now it seems that they had a double agent within the German security services itself. What we've seen, though, from campaigners is they say they want a real reaction from the German leaders.
From what I can only tell is on social media reactions, people are absolutely incensed. I mean, they are really have lost faith in their government and their elected officials.
It should be a stronger reaction. On the other hand, I mean, this is politics, and I mean, I'm also not naive. Excuse me, is it a surprise that US agents are active on German soil? No, it's not a surprise.
Well, after all that's come out about the size and scope of NSA operations here in Germany, the German people just want a real reaction from their leaders.
Now, for more on the story, we're joined live by Peter Schiff, president of investment group Euro-Pacific Capital. Now, this is just the latest in a series of scandals linking America's spying on Germany. Why does Berlin not react more strongly?
I don't know. You know, America is doing a lot to piss off its friends recently, not only spying on them, and believe me, the Americans don't like it any more than the Germans, but we're also fining major European banks in Switzerland, in France, in the UK for violating U.S. law. But, you know, the Germans maybe should be even more concerned with what happened to their gold than about the spying.
Well, just let's talk on that. Why is Europe so dependent economically on the States?
They're not. You know, I think it's the other way around. I think the United States is very dependent on the rest of the world. It's just incumbent on the rest of the world to figure that out. But the U.S. dollar is still functioning as the reserve currency, and so the dollar is a part of a lot of transactions. But there really is no reason for the dollar to be at the center of these transactions, because the dollar shouldn't be the reserve currency. Maybe at one time, when we were the world's largest exporter as far as the biggest trade surpluses, we had a high savings rate, the dollar was backed by gold. You know, one time maybe the dollar deserved to be the reserve currency, but certainly those conditions have changed dramatically over time. The United States doesn't share any of the characteristics that it had when the dollar became the reserve currency. It's just a matter of time before it no longer functions as the reserve currency. And I think the more we antagonize the rest of the world with the spying or with these huge fines on foreign banks, the quicker that process is going to be to unravel.
Well, if Germany did decide, say, to do something about America's spying activities, what could it actually achieve?
Well, I mean, I don't know what it achieves, but certainly I think what emboldens the United States to act in this way is this feeling of invincibility or superiority. And I think it's going to be very humbling when the truth comes out, when America is going to be forced to face what has happened to this country. We've been living beyond our means. We've been living based on a fantasy, not based on reality. And the world is certainly helping to preserve that fantasy by accumulating U.S. dollars, by continuing to loan us more money. If the world wasn't loaning us so much money, we couldn't afford to spy on anybody, even the American citizens. And, speaking as an American citizen, that would be an improvement.
Well, I tell you what, Germany and the US, they are allies after all. Why should Germany then be afraid that they're being spied on?
Well, look, I mean, Americans are afraid that they're being spied on, too. I mean, nobody wants people spying on them. The government claims that, well, this is all to keep us safe. This is all to protect us from terrorists. But, I don't trust government. And, if the Germans don't trust our government, I don't trust them either. You always have abuse of power. You want to limit government power. And I think what the U.S. government is doing with respect to American citizens is not only immoral, but unconstitutional. And again, welcome to the club. If the Germans are upset about our government spying on them, they probably have a right to be. But at least if they're spying on the Germans, maybe they can make an argument that they're, that it might be more related to a potential terrorist threat than spying on Americans.
Peter Schiff, President of investment house Euro Pacific Capital, we appreciate your time today.